You're quite very quiet today on the chat group. I don't know what's wrong, but I will give you a minute so you can say hello to each other. And Angelina, I can see you there. So I just want to say thank you for your email. I have received that. All right. I will talk a little bit later in the lesson also again about the poster. Right. Okay. Welcome again. We're going to continue with today's lesson. Sorry, for today, we are first going to finish up the lesson for today, and then afterwards to the end, then I will say something about your posters that should be done for today that I've given you last week, the poster about the entrepreneurship. Right, so you will see there what is our topic all about. It is about the state of net worth. Okay, that is almost like a document, but we are going to look at an example right now. Okay, so let's stop chatting and in a group and let's start with today's lesson. Right, so what you see then in front of you is basically a state of net worth that we're going to calculate. Okay, so you will see there if you look at the activity. Okay, guys, stop chatting in the group and concentrate now on the lesson. We don't worry now about the other people. They should have been in time. Right. So if we look at activity 4, it is saying there, they're asking you quite a few questions there. And let's start with the first one, and then automatically we will get to the state of net worth that we're going to look at. Right. So with number 1, there I say define the terms assets and liabilities. Okay, and we already have done that actually in the beginning of this week, end of last week already. But again, just to look at the activity, what is assets? Remember, I've said assets is things that you own that has a value. Normally, it's things that you can see and touch. Like, for instance, if you're sitting in your room, look around, then things like your bed, your table, your chair, maybe you have a fan, all those things are going to be the assets in your room. In a business, assets will normally be the building itself, vehicles, equipment, and the bank account of the business. That's everything like that that is having a value is going to be the assets. Then liabilities. Liabilities means somebody owes somebody money. Okay, so for instance, we as a business was buying stationery on credit from somebody else, so we still need to pay for that stationery. Then that will be an example of a liability. Right, then with number 2, they say there, use the following list supplied by Mr. David Jones to help him calculate his net worth. And that is actually what this page is all about, is how to calculate the net worth, or how are you going to draw up a statement of net worth. Let's first look at the information block that they give there to you. You will see they say there was a savings account of 850 Rand, clothes of 3,000, a watch 275, soccer boots of 440 Rand, a soccer ball of 145, PlayStation and games of 5,450, a hi-fi set of 2,000, CDs of 300, money owed to the hi-fi supplier, 1,200, and a loan from his father of 850 rand. So that is the details that they give to you. And then there, under that block of details, they're first going to ask you to categorize the list above into assets and liabilities. Copy the table into your workbooks. Right, we're not going to copy it, we're just going to talk through it. So let's take that block of information that you see, and then we're going to decide which ones are assets and which ones are liabilities. Right, let's work from the top. In the block savings account of 850 Rand, what will that be? That will be an asset because it's having a value. Clothes, 3,000 Rand. It's also an asset because you can see it, you can touch it, it has a value. Watch of 275. Again, you can see it, you can touch it. I'm touching my watch now and I can see it, of 275 Rand. So that is an asset. If we take soccer boots and the soccer ball, the boots is 440 and the ball is 145. Both of them are assets. It has a value. You can see it, you can touch it. Right, PlayStation and games, 5,450. Of course, that is definitely going to be an asset. The same with the hi-fi set of 2,000 Rand. And the series of 300 Rand. So up till now, everything is assets. But now, money owed to the hi-fi supplier, 1,200. When somebody is owing someone money, then it is a liability. Right, so all of them from savings account up to series will go to assets. Then this one of 1,200 Rand, money owed to the hi-fi supplier, is a liability. And then the last one, the loan from his father, 850 Rand, that is also going to be a liability. Loans is an example of liabilities. Okay, somebody is asking there what the headline is going to be. Don't worry too much about it. What is important is the part that you will see on your screen. Like I said, was just a part of an activity that I've took out to show you what will be the state of net worth. Okay, so don't worry too much about the top part. All right. Okay, so that is the first thing that you need to do is you get a whole list of things and then you need to decide what is assets and what is liabilities, and you can write it, for instance, in a table there like they have given with number 1. Then with number 2 there, they ask you to calculate the total assets and the total liabilities. So if you have put it on a piece of paper, then you're basically just going to add up those columns. You're going to add up the column for assets and you're going to add up the column for liabilities. And then with number 3, and this is the question that we actually get into, then they're going to ask you to calculate the net worth. And there I give you like a formula. How are you going to calculate the net worth? And to do that, you need to take your total assets minus your total liabilities, and then you will get an answer, and that answer will be your net worth. So right, so again, if we look at this example, remember with number 1, after the block of information, we have separated it in 2 columns. We have mentioned the ones that is assets, and we've mentioned the ones that is liabilities. Then the second step is you add up the totals, and you get a total for assets and you get a total for liabilities. And then to calculate the net worth is then basically you subtract those 2 totals from each other. So the assets minus the liabilities, that is going to give you the net worth. And that is what is important on this slideshow for you guys to understand. So again, you will see, especially for the rest of this week and even today, I'm going to concentrate a lot on some questions that you can get like in an exam, because next week there is going to be an informal assessment. So I'm going to test you this whole week on questions, but the idea is so you can see what type of questions you will get in this informal assessments. So with this slideshow, I can give you a block of information with assets and liabilities, and then I can ask you to draw up columns and to calculate the net worth. Right. Now, we're going to play sort of a game now. So you should have your chat box ready now, because you are going to type some answers in the chat box for me. And let's go to see who can type the fastest. Don't answer the questions before the time, only when I'm busy with a particular question. Okay. So again, this is just to give you an idea of the informal assessment of next week. Right, so let's start with question 1. Be ready. Give 2 examples of assets. Let's see who's going to be first. Type your answers in the chat box and I will see it. So give 2 examples of assets. Any 2 examples? It can be in a business. It can be your personal things. Who's going to be first? And it's Angelina. Okay, Angelina, she is saying a chair at the table. Absolutely correct. Okay, there comes the soccer balls and the soccer boots as well. But definitely both of it are assets. If we think of a business, right, people, then it will be like vehicles or equipment or buildings, for instance. Right, good. Number 2. Describe what is a liability. So in a very short sentence, describe what is a liability. Come on, guys, let's see who's going to be first. Question 2. Right, it's again Angelina. She is saying there it is debt, right? Yes, well done. Actually, you have put it in one short word, actually. Very good. Or the things that you owe, that's also a good answer there. So what is a liability? That is when one person owes money to another person, or when one business owes money to another business. Right, let's move to question 3. Mention any 2 expenses. And I want here expenses in a business. Okay? Mention any 2 expenses in a business. Mention any 2 expenses in a business. It doesn't look like if somebody's going to answer that one. You will see I'm typing now. And there I've mentioned 2. It's telephone and water and electricity. There are actually a lot of expenses a business can have. I'm going to mention a few. They need to pay the telephone account. That's an expense. They need to pay the water and electricity bill. That's an expense. They need to pay the people that's working the wages or the salaries. That is going to be an expense. People, there is actually a lot of expenses. So basically anything that the business needs to pay is going to be an expense. Like advertisement as well, for instance. Right, let's try and see question 4. What do we call it when an owner withdraw money for his own use? And I'm still almost busy. And Angelina, absolutely correct and well done on that one. And the answer is drawings. Remember, I've told you this one is very important. Please remember this. What do we call it when an owner withdraw money for his own personal use? We call it drawings. Right, and the last question. In a short sentence, what is a source document? What is a source document? Right? Source document, that is a document where a transaction will be recorded on. So for instance, the date of the transaction will be on that document, the amount is going to be involved, the person who's involved will be on that, the person that's writing out the document, the signature will be there. So it is a source document is that every transaction must be recorded onto a source document. That will be, for example, like a receipt, a check, an invoice, etc. Right. Okay, but you have done not too bad at all. This is the type of questions, people, that you will get next week with the informal assessment as well. All right. Another activity, and I'm going to give you about 3-4 minutes for this one. So sit ready with your pen and paper, or just think about these questions, and then we will ask for some answers here. There are basically 3 questions here. I ask you to think of a school. So think of that you're sitting in the classroom of a school, and then you need to identify the assets of a school, the expenses of the school, and the income of the school. Okay, but basically just 2 with each one. So 2 assets, 2 expenses, 2 income is more than enough. All right, so I'm going to give you about 3-4 minutes so you can think about this one, and then we will talk it through. All right, so let's start and talk through this one. So I said, remember that you guys are in a school, and we are going to start with the first one there, and let's see what is the assets of a school. Okay. Angelina was also saying there, giving an answer there. All right. Chair at the table for the assets of the school. Yes, of course. All the chairs and the tables that will be in every classroom, that is going to be assets. If you think of another thing, will be, for instance, let's say the school is having some school buses or maybe a car. So vehicles is going to be an asset for the school. The building itself is an asset as well for the school. And yeah, and then just one thing, like you have said there, the chair at the table, you're absolutely correct. But from now on, when we talk about assets, we need to use the correct name of the account that you will use in accounting. Okay, so chair and table or any furniture is going to fall under equipment. So remember, from now on, we're not basically going to talk about the furniture of a school, we talk about the equipment of the school. Right, if we look at the expenses of the school, then, or again, somebody said water and electricity. That's correct. Um, I can tell you, sometimes the schools in a month, they need to pay for the water and electricity bill to the municipality, then it's costing them about 50, 60,000 rand. But definitely that's an expense. Remember, in the offices, they have telephones. So telephones will be an expense to them. And then they also need to buy some stationery. So that will be an expense. They need to pay for their workers. That is going to be an expense. Then, if we look at number 3, where I said identify the income of a school. Okay. Um, Somebody was saying school fees and fundraising, absolutely correct. So that is one way the school is getting some money in. So that is the income of the school, by the learners that needs to pay some school fees or school funds. And then they will also have, the schools will have some fundraising projects where they try to get some money in. Okay, I don't think you will know this, but the Department of Education is also to be given a certain amount to every school. That is not a lot of money, but yeah, that you can also see as the income of a particular school. All right. So what I've done with this question is just again so you can understand of what is assets, what is expenses, what is income when we talked about that. Okay. Right. Another activity. They say they classify the following accounts under income, expenses, assets, or liabilities. So now it's becoming more the activity. I mentioned there a few accounts there. But let's go through the accounts: water and electricity, rent received, telephone, vehicle, computer, loan, bank account, and money received for services rendered. So what I want you guys to do is you need to take each of these accounts and decide, what is it going to be? Is it going to be an income, expense, an asset, or a liability? So I will give you another, let's say 3-4 minutes there on that one. Right, so let's see. So again, we're going to classify each of these accounts to see if it's going to be an income, an expense, an asset, or a liability. If we start with water and electricity, so what is water and electricity? And yeah, sorry about that one. Somebody can put it in the chat box for me so I can see what do you answer there. Right, thank you. Oh, Angelina is quite participating today, hey? Right, water and electricity, yes, that's an expense. Right, let's see if somebody else can answer the next one. What is rent received? Right, thank you there. Rent received is an income because you receive the money. Right, next one, telephone. Right, I was waiting to see what you're going to answer on this one. Be careful with telephone. All right. Yes, I know. If you see a telephone, all right, think for yourself, maybe you're sitting with your cell phone now, then you can see it, you can touch it. So you will say it's an asset, right? And that is correct. But what we talk here is about the telephone bill that needs to be paid. So, although the word bill or account is not going to stand there, it's always going to be this. They will always talk about the telephone bill that needs to be paid. And if you need to pay something, then it will be an expense. So remember, telephone is an expense. So be careful on that one. Right. Let's go on. Vehicle. Answer there. Thank you. No, the vehicle is an asset, right? It has a value. You can see it. You can touch it. Right. Computer. Okay. A computer is not an expense. I'm sitting here with my laptop. I can see it. I can touch it. So therefore, it has a value. So therefore, a computer is an asset. Right. Who's going to be first for the next one? A loan. Good. Loan is always a liability because you still owe that money that you need to pay back. Next one, the bank account of a business. Okay. Bank account of a business is an asset. Why? Because the money that is lying in that bank account is something that you can see. You can go and touch that money. It has a value. So remember, the bank account of the business is an asset. Right, and then the last one there, money received for services rendered. Okay, there you already answered. It is an income because again you received the money. The money is coming into your business, so therefore it's an income. Right. Just again regarding this activity, um, yeah, I can put it, for instance, in a table where I've mentioned all these accounts, and then you have to tick off in the right column to say, is it an expense, an income, liability, or what it is going to be. Right, now we're getting to the next part. We're going to look at what is the difference between a service business and a trading business. Remember, our other word for business is enterprise. Right. If it is a service business, then you will see I've given there some examples there and then basically a description. A service business is these businesses receive money by rendering a service to the public. So a service business is about rendering a service. For example, a doctor, a dentist, a hairdresser, attorneys, dry cleaners, etc. Okay? Because if you go to the doctor, okay, the doctor is going to have a consultation to see what is going to be wrong with you. So that is a service that you get from the doctor. Yes, some doctors will give you some medicine and pills and all those things that can be seen as a product maybe, but the doctor is basically there for the consultation, for the service that he is going to render. While a trading business, on the other hand, is these businesses receive money by selling products to the public. Okay, so it's about products, goods, items, like, for example, supermarkets, clothing stores, furniture stores, butcheries, etc. And if you look at these examples, every one of them is about goods, products that is going to be involved. Right, so again, very important, note the difference between service businesses and trading businesses with at least 2 examples with each one. Service businesses is about rendering a service to the public, like your doctor, dentist, hairdresser, and the trading business is about selling products to the public, like your supermarkets, clothing stores, furniture stores, etc. Right. Another game we're going to play, and we basically then almost finished for today. Right, so let's see. I've set it at the top, identifying the business. So again, let's see, it's going to be first. You need to type in there for me just say service or trading. Let's start with the first one, a hairdresser. What do you say is a hairdresser? Service or trading enterprise? Think of what is a hairdresser doing. Okay, she's cutting the hair of the people. There's not a product or item involved there. So absolutely correct. That is an example of a service enterprise or a service business. Right, the next one, a doctor. Right, also a service enterprise there, because like I said, the doctor is doing a consultation to his patients. He's not the one really going to give the pills and the medication and so on that you're going to get at the pharmacy normally. An attorney, next one. Okay, I will do number 3. There you see, attorney is a service enterprise. There's no products involved there. There's no items involved there. The attorney is a person that is helping you out when you may be in trouble. Okay, so that is definitely a service business. Right, the next one. So we are now at number 4, a butchery. Okay, there we go. It's a trading enterprise because there is products involved. Okay. Next one, number 5, supermarket. All right, again, you're up to it. It is a trading enterprise because there are products involved. So Shoprite, Spar, Pick n Pay, all those places, they are examples of trading enterprises. Okay, next one, Edgar's. You're wrong on that one. Edgar's is not a service enterprise. Yes, Angelina, it's a trading enterprise. Thank you there. Because It's clothes. Clothes is items, goods. Okay, so it gives us an example of a trading enterprise. Right, let's see. Next one, end-to-end. All right, there again, different answers that we can see there. Okay, this is also a very difficult one actually, because if you think of it, end-to-end is actually there to service the clients. So it's actually a service business. But yes, some MTNs is selling phones and all those things that is products as well. Okay, so basically MTN is a difficult one because it's actually something of both. Okay, a little bit of a service enterprise, or actually I would say a big part of service enterprise and a smaller part of trading enterprise. So if you need to give an answer there, I will say go with service enterprise because actually that is what it is all about. Right, next one, check it out. Yeah, Techie Town is a trading enterprise because they are selling some shoes, that is products. And then the last one there, Crazy Store. Crazy Store is also a trading enterprise because it's again products that is going to be involved there. Right, let's have a recap for today. I'm just quickly going back to the previous slide shows. So what is important for today? What you see in front of you to calculate the net worth, very important. So again, I will give you a block with information, with assets and liabilities. You need to identify which ones is assets and which ones is liabilities. Get the totals of the amounts, subtract it from each other, and that will give you the net worth. All right, so that is definitely important. Okay, then again, this activity as well, but it's not to say it has to be a school every time. I can ask you to identify the assets and the expenses and the income of a business, for instance. So the important thing here is you need to understand what is assets, what is expenses, what is income. And that is where we have done activity like that, where you need to identify, is it income, expenses, sorry, assets or liabilities. And then also very important, you need to know the difference between a service business and a trading business and what is the examples with each one. So again, a service business is about rendering a service. A trading business is about products. And then you will get something like this, where I'm going to give you a list of different businesses or places. And then you need to identify every time to see, is it a service enterprise or is it a trading enterprise? Right, just the last thing for today. You guys will remember last week I've given you an assignment to do. It was about that poster that you need to design for the entrepreneurship. Okay, I want you guys to email it to me, and there is my email address. Okay, remember to put your name also on the poster, or even that your name is just indicating with the email as well. I've already received Angelina's, and so I hope the rest of you is going to send it to me. It is going to count for marks. Okay, so I'm going to mark each and every one. Is going to count marks. So for the rest of the day, or even tomorrow will also be great. Then you must just please email that poster to me. All right. Is there any questions maybe that you want to ask about the poster or the emailing of it? Or any other questions? Then I will look for it now in the chat box. Otherwise, we are actually done for today. I hope your posters is done because that was your homework. Somebody's asking, ma'am, those marks about the poster, will they go on the report card? Of course, okay? So that is why I will always tell you before the time. I will tell you when and what is going to count for marks, okay? So like next week, when you're also going to have informal assessments, we're going to, some of them will count and some of them not, but I will indicate to you before the time, right? But definitely the poster is going to count. All right, it looks like that for today then. Thank you very much. I'm waiting for your emails. Have a nice afternoon, and then we will talk tomorrow again. Goodbye.